Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you the last video of this year, and I wasn't really sure what to do for that, but I think I came up with a pretty fun video because today I want to talk to you about all the books that I bought in 2022. So I don't do book hauls because usually I don't buy a lot of books in a short amount of time, but over the year 50 books have accumulated, and most of those were audiobooks and ebooks, so I don't have them physically here to share with you, but some of them were also paperbacks and hardbacks. And I will talk about a couple of stats for the beginning of this video, and then I will go through the books and let you know whether I've read them, whether I've liked them, and yeah, just give you a little tiny book haul of 50 books. I don't plan on buying anything else. Obviously, it is like almost the end of the year now. I did get quite a few as Christmas presents, which I will not include here because I want to do a separate video for that, and also I haven't bought them myself, even though they were on my wish list, so you know, I'm leaving out gifts for this one. This is just the books that I bought for myself. So these stats will include the gifts just because I have them all in my spreadsheet together. Just keep that in mind because I will talk about a larger number of books than the ones I will share with you now. But overall, the books that I bought, I spent 470 euros on these books, which I think is quite alright. If you take that with the 50 books, you're around 10 euro a book or something like that. Yeah, because the gifts are in here as well. My spreadsheet's number is a little bit lower. It says I spent 7.50 euro per book, but obviously I didn't spend anything on gifts, so it is lower. And I spent around 40 euro per month, so I think that's totally fine. And when we get to the like portion of which books I've read, you will see why I'm fine with that. Then for age group, most of the books I buy are adult, about 80%, and then 20% were YA, and I did not buy any children's fiction. Genre-wise, my most bought genre is fantasy, since it is also my most read one. And then we have horror and romance. Now the romance category is so high because I mostly buy audiobooks, and with those I do sometimes get romances as well. I don't like reading romance in books, I like physically reading it, but in audiobooks, especially around the holidays, I quite like that, so that's why the number is so high. Then we also have some non-fiction, but those were mainly gifts, because I like to wish for non-fiction books. The chances are higher that I will keep them after reading them, and I always feel a little bit bad about getting rid of books that were gifts, even so sometimes they're just not to my liking, even though I had been excited about them. So that's my most bought genres. And then for the percentage that I've read, now please keep in mind that this includes the gifts, and I haven't read a lot of those just for reasons, okay? So I have read 73% of the books that I hauled this year, and I haven't read 26%. So most of the books that I will talk about in this video I have actually read, so that's why I'm pretty much fine with the number, because there isn't a lot that will add onto my physical TBR. Last but not least, I mainly buy books through Amazon because I use Audible. That's where that comes from. I also use German bookstores, physical ones, and then also one where I buy my ebooks. So that's where I mostly buy. So with all of those stats out of the way, let's get to the books. And because it is a little bit more exciting, I will start with the physical books that I bought and let you know what I've read, what I've liked, and the everything about it. So let's get started. These are in no particular order. So the first one I want to share with you is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. I bought this one for the authors I wanted to try this year, and I gave it 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this book, and it's great. Next up, I bought the Devabad trilogy. This one I bought for the series I wanted to binge read this year. They're not in the correct order. So the first one is The City of Brass, then we have The Kingdom of Copper and The Empire of Gold. I've read all of these. I gave City of Brass 4 stars, 4.5, 4 stars. 4.5 stars. I gave Kingdom of Copper 5 stars, and I gave Empire of Gold 4.5 stars. So that was definitely a win as well. Then one of my most anticipated books of the year is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn, the sequel to Legendborn. I have not read this yet because it just came out in December, but this is very high on my TBR for next year. Similarly, I got Whiteout by Danielle Clayton, Tiffany D. Jackson, Nick Stone, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk, and Nicola Yoon. Now this is kind of a sequel to Blackout by the same authors. I don't know whether they're connected, but I found out that Blackout is actually set during the summer and this one is set during winter. And I think this one is more of a coherent story, whereas Blackout is short stories. But I don't know if this story in here is somehow connected to Blackout. That's why I have not started reading this one yet, because I'm a little bit scared that I might spoil something. Then we have Pet and Bitter by Akweke Emezi. Pet is the first book by this author that I've read. I read it at the beginning of the year and absolutely fell in love with this book. And so I was really excited when the prequel was announced and it came out this year. I have not read the prequel yet, but I think I want to reread Pet and read the prequel starting next year. So I'm very excited about these. Then we have another sequel, and that is Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri. This is a sequel to Empire of Sand, which I've read this year, and I haven't gotten around to this one yet, but I'm very intrigued to see what this one is all about, because it follows the sister of the main character of the first book. Then again, with the series, I got Color of Magic and The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett. I read The Color of Magic for my authors I wanted to try this year, and I enjoyed it so much, and it had a cliffhanger, so I got the sequel, and I have not read that one yet, but it's also very high on my list for next year, so I'm very excited. I think I gave The Color of Magic 4 stars. Can't even see them anymore. But we're getting to the last one, and that is Monstrous Volume 7 by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. And this is my only ongoing comic series that I follow. I absolutely love it. I gave this volume 4 stars, but volume 6, the one before that, was my favorite of the whole series. So I can't wait to see where this goes. We got so much more information in this one that was dearly needed. So yeah, I love this. Okay, so these were all of my physical books that I got, and now I will talk to you about the ebooks and audiobooks, and I will blend in the cover for you. So the first one I got was Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier, and this one I had also read for my authors I wanted to try. Unfortunately, I did not really love this one. I gave it a 3.5 stars, and I don't think I will continue on with that for now. Then my next audiobook I got was The Conductors by Nicole Clover. I had fun with this one. It's kind of a mystery story, and I think I gave it around 3.5 or 4 stars. I still have to continue on with that series because there is a sequel. Then I read Small Country by Gail Fay, and this one was quite harrowing of a read, but I did enjoy it. I think I gave it around a 4.5 stars. Then again, for the authors challenge, I got The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and I really enjoyed that one. I think I gave it 4.5 stars, and I desperately need to read the sequels to this because I think what I'll actually do is I will reread this one starting next year and get the next 2 for the first trilogy read. I really loved it. Then I got the Greenbone Saga on audio, so Jade City, Jade War, and Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. I really enjoyed this series. It was definitely growing on me, and it had me in tears. The last book shattered me, and yeah, I really enjoyed those. But yeah, as I said, it was slowly growing on me. I think I gave the first book like 3.5, 4 stars, second book 4 stars, and the third book 4.5 stars, I think. Then the next audiobook I got was Love Marriage by Monica Ali. This one I also really enjoyed. It was so chaotic and fun, and I can only highly recommend it. Then we have Girl, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashar-Dust, and again, this one was such a great book. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars, and yeah, it was just great. Then I listened to The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. This one, I'm just not one for the gothic fiction, so it was fine, but not my favorite. I think I gave it around a 3.5 stars. Then I listened to Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, which I absolutely loved. It's one of my favorite books of the year, and I'm so glad I listened to it because the audiobook experience was really great. Then I listened to an audiobook for free, and that was M to the WTF by Samantha Allen. This is a book about transitioning, and the author is a trans woman, and I really enjoyed this. I read her book Real Queer America before and really enjoyed that one as well. Just a very short memoir type nonfiction. Then I read In Deeper Waters, also as an audiobook by F.T. Lukens, and that one was so much fun. It was just the right amount of like fantasy adventure for the summertime. I am very glad I listened to that one. Then I got some ebooks for the Magical Readathon because I had some prompts I needed books for. And the first one I had was All Systems Red by Martha Wells. And this one was so much fun. It's just a short novella, but it was great. And I definitely want to continue with this series. Then we have Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey, and again, this is one of my favorite books of the year. I had so much fun with it, and yeah, it was great. I really liked it. And then lastly, I have Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Caw. This one was on so many worst books lists last year, but I didn't really understand it. It wasn't like a great book, but I also didn't really hate it. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was quite creepy and also very short. Then on audiobook again, I got the Poppy War series. So The Poppy War, The Dragon Republic, and The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. Now this series unfortunately did not work so well for me because I realized I just don't really like books that are set during a war where it's just a lot about the battles and the war and stuff like that. It's just not my favorite thing. So I gave them all around 4 stars, I think, but more as, you know, quality and not enjoyment for me personally. Then I went into my cozy fantasy zone, and I got Nettle and Bone as an audiobook by T. Kingfisher. This was my first book by her, and I absolutely loved it. It was so great, such a great book, and I'm very glad that I picked it up. Then after that, I got Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I really enjoyed her previous duology last year, and I had so much fun with those audiobooks, so I thought I'd check out her new book. This one was fine. It was fun. It's a YA story. It has a lot to do with death as a character. It was fine. I think I gave it 4 stars, so if you're intrigued by it, I would definitely pick it up. Then we're getting into the Halloween reads, and first I picked up Rules for Vanishing on audio. This is by Kate Ellis Marshall. It's a YA horror, and I loved this book. It was so good, and I would highly recommend it. I can't wait to read the second book by the author that they're kind of like a trilogy, I've heard, so there must be some kind of connection. We'll see, but I'll definitely get to that next year. Then we have Carol Haunt by Darcy Coates. This is the 4th book I've read by Darcy Coates and the 3rd disappointment, so I'm kind of over her, I think. I think I will not keep listening to her books. This one was cozy horror. No, I'm sorry, I like cozy, but if I read a horror book, I want it to be horror. Then we have House of Hunger, and this is by Alexis Henderson. I have not read The Year of the Witching by this author yet, but I definitely will in the future, because House of Hunger was quite fun. I liked it. It was also more of a gothic fiction book, but still it worked a little bit better for me. I think I gave it around 4 stars, and yeah, I just had fun with it. I really liked the writing style and the kind of world building bits. I just wanted more, to be honest. And then coming to the end of the Halloween reads, I had gotten Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher on audio, and this is more of a horror book by this author. I really enjoyed it. I've heard mixed reviews of this one, but for me it definitely worked. It was creepy, but it was funny. And I liked it. That's my kind of horror, you know? It's like creepy, but there's also some fun to it, like similar to Grady Hendrix. So yeah, I did like that one. Now we're going back to more cozy reads because I picked up A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana on audio. And that book was so lovely. It was so great. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. Just exactly what you want when you say witchy romance. It was so cozy and fun, and I really enjoyed the romance as well, and all of the children was really cute. Then I picked up From Bad to Cursed by Lana Harper. This is the second book in a series. I really enjoyed the first book, Payback's a Witch, but this one did not work for me, and I kind of regret getting it. So yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I'm not quite sure whether I will continue with that series. And then on audio, I picked up Cackle by Rachel Harrison. This one was also quite fun. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, maybe 4. Don't remember quite. But yeah, it was a fun kind of witchy women's fiction book. Definitely not a horror, definitely not a thriller. The marketing around this book has been a little bit wonky, but if you go into it expecting what it is, I think you can definitely enjoy it. And then we're getting into the Christmas audiobooks. And the first one I got was Make You Mine This Christmas by Lizzie Huxley Jones. And I loved this book. It was my favorite Christmas book. It was so good, it was so fun. I'm pretty sure I will re-listen to this next year because it was just great. It has that kind of fake dating but then falling for the sister plot. I know that there is another book that has pretty much the same story. Seems like a big coincidence, but I decided to go with this one because I like British books for Christmas, and I was not disappointed. It was so great. Then we have Miracle on Christmas Street by Annie O'Neill. This one was more of a disappointment. It was also not a romance, but more like women's fiction again. It actually reminded me quite a bit of Cackle because the whole setup of the story was so similar. Just not witches, but Christmas. So if you're into that, I think you might enjoy this. For me, it didn't quite work. In between all of the Christmas books, I actually got the Diviners series as ebooks. So I got the Diviners, Lair of Dreams, Before the Devil Breaks You, and King of Crows, all by Libba Bray. And I'm currently reading this. I'm right in the middle of the 3rd book, so I still have 1 more book to go, and I hope I can finish it this year. So far I'm enjoying the series, but I've heard mixed things about the last book, so we'll see how that goes. Back to the Christmas audiobooks, I got Winter Kisses at Roseford Cafe by Faye Keenan. This one was really sweet as well. It is a romance with a movie star, so that was kind of fun. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, around there. It was really cute, really wholesome, and I enjoyed it. Then I listened to How to Excavate a Heart by Jake Maya Arlo. This is a romance that is set during Christmas, but with Jewish characters. They're not actually celebrating Christmas, it's just this time of year. I really enjoyed this book. It had a little bit of a twist at the end that I didn't really agree with, or that just felt a little bit weird to me. But apart from that, it was a really cute book, a really cute love story between 2 girls, and I gave it 4 stars. The last Christmassy audiobook I got was Christmas in Magnolia Glen by Caitlin Meadows. I'm almost done with this one. I have half an hour left, but this one also doesn't work for me really. The Christian undertones are just too strong, so I think this will probably end up being a 2.5 star read for me. I will still finish the last half hour, but yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. And then I forgot one more physical book, but it fits in here quite nicely because it's also a Christmas book. I got myself a new copy of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens because I I saw it in a bookstore and I couldn't pass it up. My old copy was really ugly, so this one is so much nicer. And I have reread this one just a couple of days ago, so this one already has gotten a read as well. So these would be all the books that I have bought this year. I'm really glad that I read so many of them. Obviously, this does not help with reducing my TBR, but I think I had a good reason for all of these, and I'm very happy that most of them were 4 stars or higher for me. Now, with some of them, you will always have that, they didn't work so well, but I don't really mind spending my money on the audiobooks just because I can listen to a lot of them. As you will have seen, I've read pretty much all of the audiobooks I bought this year, so that's quite exciting. And yeah, let me know what audiobooks or other books you've bought this year, whether you're happy with the number or whether you bought too many or maybe even too little. I would love to hear about that. And yeah, have a happy new year. I will see you in 2023. Stay safe. Remember that fireworks are evil and they scare animals and stuff like that. They're also really bad for the environment. So if you can, please avoid them. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.